My son called to invite me on a special family weekend getaway. I was loading my suitcase into the trunk when my 7-year-old granddaughter pulled at my hand and whispered through tears, "Grandma, don't get in the car. I saw what Daddy did." My body went cold. What I discovered 10 minutes later saved my life. But before I tell you what my granddaughter saw and what I found that changed everything, I need you to do something for me. Leave a comment below and tell me where you're watching this from. Because what I'm about to share is a story about family betrayal so calculated, so cruel, that I still wake up some nights wondering how the people I loved most could have planned what they planned. And I want to know, does this kind of evil exist everywhere, or was I just catastrophically unlucky? My name is Catherine Brennan. I'm 63 years old, and I live in Savannah, Georgia, in a restored antebellum home that my late husband and I renovated together over 15 years. I'm telling you this not to brag, but because my wealth is central to this story. My husband, James, was a commercial real estate investor who built an empire from nothing. When he passed away from a sudden cardiac event 4 years ago, he left me with assets worth approximately $12 million. Properties, investments, cash accounts, and a life insurance policy that set me up for the rest of my days. He also left me with our son, David, who was 32 at the time, and a granddaughter I adored more than life itself. I spent the first year after James died in a fog of grief, but eventually I found my footing. I got involved in charity work, traveled extensively, and managed the estate with the help of excellent financial advisors. I also made sure David and his wife, Nicole, were comfortable. I paid off their mortgage as a gift. I set up a college fund for my granddaughter, Emma. I gave them generous cash gifts on birthdays and holidays. I wasn't trying to control them with money. I was trying to share my good fortune with the people I loved most. David and Nicole had been married for 9 years when this story begins. They seemed happy enough on the surface. David worked in pharmaceutical sales, and Nicole was a former nurse who'd stopped working after Emma was born. They lived in a beautiful home in one of Savannah's nicest suburbs, the home I'd paid off for them. We had Sunday dinners together most weeks, and I'd babysit Emma whenever they needed a date night or a break. I thought we were a close, loving family. I thought I knew them. The first sign that something was wrong came about 6 months ago, though I didn't recognize it as a warning at the time. David started asking questions about my estate planning. Had I updated my will recently? Who was the executor? What would happen to the properties if something happened to me? He framed it all as concern. "Mom, you're getting older, and we just want to make sure everything is organized in case of an emergency." I was 63, not 93. I was in excellent health. I walked 3 miles every morning and took yoga classes twice a week. But I appreciated what I thought was his thoughtfulness, so I answered his questions. Then Nicole started making comments about my living situation. Wasn't the house too big for me? Wasn't I lonely rattling around in all that space by myself? Wouldn't I be happier in a nice retirement community where I'd have people my own age to socialize with? The suggestions felt innocent enough at first, but they became more frequent, more pointed. She'd send me links to luxury senior living facilities. She'd mention friends whose elderly parents had transitioned so well to assisted living. I'd smile and thank her for thinking of me, but inside I felt a growing unease. About 4 months ago, David suggested I add Nicole's name to my primary checking account. "Just as a backup," he said, "in case something happens and you need someone to handle bills or medical expenses quickly." I told him I already had power of attorney documents in place with my attorney. He pushed back, saying it would be simpler and faster if Nicole had direct access. When I declined, I saw something flash across his face, anger, maybe, or frustration, that disappeared so quickly I thought I'd imagined it. That's when I started paying closer attention to their behavior around me. Not because I was suspicious exactly, but because something felt subtly off. The way they'd exchange glances when I mentioned my health. The way Nicole would steer conversations toward my age and limitations. The way David would casually mention stories about elderly people having accidents, falling downstairs, getting into car crashes, having adverse reactions to medications. It all felt like normal conversation in the moment, but when I looked back on it later, there was a pattern, a narrative being constructed. Then came the incident that made everything click into focus. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I'd stopped by their house unannounced to drop off some books I'd bought for Emma. I let myself in through the side door. They'd given me a key years ago, and heard voices coming from the kitchen. I was about to call out when I heard my name. I froze. "Your mother's not going to live forever," Nicole was saying. "And the longer she lives, the more she's going to spend. She's already talking about that cruise to Europe next spring. That's 50,000 right there." "I know," David replied, and his voice sounded strained. "But what do you want me to do? I can't just ask her to die faster." Nicole laughed. Actually laughed. "Of course not. But accidents happen, David, especially to women her age. She could fall. She could have a reaction to medication. Hell, she could wrap that expensive car of hers around a tree." I stood in the hallway, unable to breathe, unable to move. Surely I was misunderstanding. Surely they weren't suggesting what it sounded like they were suggesting. "The life insurance alone is $2 million, David said quietly. "Plus, the house, the investment properties, the accounts. We're talking about $8 to $10 million once everything's settled and sold. Emma's college fund is already set up, so that would all be liquid assets." "We could pay off my mother's house," Nicole said. "Take that trip to Bali we've been planning. Maybe buy a vacation home in the mountains. David, we've been living modestly for years while your mother sits on a fortune. Don't you think we deserve some of that while we're still young enough to enjoy it?" I heard footsteps and barely managed to slip back out the side door before they came into view. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, hands shaking on the steering wheel, trying to process what I'd just heard. My son and his wife had just discussed my life like I was a stock they were waiting to mature. They'd talked about my potential accidents and my assets in the same breath. And the cold, casual way they'd done it, like they were discussing what to have for dinner. That's what horrified me most. I drove home on autopilot and immediately called my attorney, Harrison Mitchell, who'd been handling my legal affairs for 15 years. I told him everything I'd heard. Harrison listened without interrupting, and when I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "Catherine," he finally said, "I'm going to say something, and I need you to take it seriously. What you just described sounds like two people discussing how to hasten your demise for financial gain. That's not just disturbing. It's potentially criminal conspiracy. I think you need to involve law enforcement." I didn't want to believe it. I told Harrison I must have misunderstood, that maybe they were just venting frustration, that I needed to investigate more before I involved police. He wasn't happy with my decision, but he agreed to help me gather more information. He recommended I hire a private investigator and install security cameras in my home. He also insisted I change my will immediately to protect my assets from any suspicious circumstances. I did all of it. I hired an investigator named Marcus Reed, a former FBI agent who specialized in financial crimes and family fraud. I had cameras installed throughout my house, hidden in smoke detectors and picture frames, motion-activated and recording continuously. And I met with Harrison to restructure my entire estate. We created an ironclad trust that would distribute assets over time rather than in a lump sum. We added clauses that would trigger investigations if I died under suspicious circumstances. We made it nearly impossible for anyone to benefit quickly from my passing. Marcus began his investigation immediately. He put monitoring software on my phone and computer to track if anyone was accessing them remotely. He started following David and Nicole discreetly, and he began pulling financial records to see if there were any signs of financial pressure that might be motivating their behavior. What he found made my blood run cold. David and Nicole were drowning in debt. Secret debt I knew nothing about. Credit cards maxed out to nearly $80,000. A second mortgage on their home that I'd paid off. They'd borrowed against the equity for home improvements that never seemed to materialize. Car loans, personal loans, and a pattern of living far beyond their means while maintaining the appearance of financial stability. They needed money desperately, and they'd apparently decided I was their solution. But Marcus also found something else. He discovered that Nicole had been researching accidental poisoning. Web searches on her computer for things like undetectable substances, medications that cause heart attacks, how long does antifreeze stay in the system. She'd visited forums where people discussed true crime cases. She'd even accessed medical databases using login credentials she apparently still had from her nursing days. I felt sick reading Marcus's report. This wasn't just idle fantasy. This was research, planning. Nicole was actively trying to figure out how to hurt me in a way that would look natural, and David, at minimum, knew about it, was part of it. My own son was complicit in a plot to harm his mother for inheritance money. Harrison urged me to go to the police immediately with what we'd found, but I wanted more. I needed undeniable proof. I needed to catch them in the act of attempting something, not just discussing it, because I knew that conversations and internet searches, while damning, might not be enough for criminal charges. I needed them to take an actual step toward harming me. That's when David called with the invitation for a family weekend getaway. "Mom, we thought it would be nice to take a trip together. You, me, Nicole, and Emma. Just a long weekend up in the mountains. There's this beautiful cabin I found, really remote and peaceful. We could hike, have family dinners, just reconnect." His voice was warm, loving. The voice of the son I remembered from before all of this. It would have been touching if I hadn't known what I knew. I told him it sounded wonderful. I agreed immediately. And then I called Marcus and Harrison and told them this was it. This was the opportunity they'd been waiting for. We had 5 days to prepare. Marcus installed a GPS tracker in my car that would monitor not just location, but also diagnostic information, speed, brake function, mechanical issues. He gave me a small audio recorder disguised as a medication container that I should keep with me at all times. He arranged for surveillance equipment to be set up around the cabin David had rented. Yes, he found the location and got there first. And he coordinated with local law enforcement to be on standby in case something went wrong. Harrison updated all my documents one final time. He created a sealed letter explaining everything we suspected and instructing that if anything happened to me during this trip, a full investigation should be launched immediately. He gave copies to 3 different people: my financial advisor, my best friend Margaret, and the local district attorney, who he knew personally. I spent those 5 days in a strange state of hyper-awareness. I felt like I was preparing for battle. I was frightened, yes, but I was also angry, furious that my own family would do this, determined to stop them. I wasn't going to be a passive victim. I was going to catch them, expose them, and make sure they faced consequences. The morning of the trip, David pulled up to my house in their SUV. Nicole was in the passenger seat, smiling and waving. Emma was in the back, bouncing excitedly in her booster seat. I came out with my suitcase, playing the role of the excited grandmother, and David popped the trunk for me to load my bag. That's when Emma got out of the car. She was supposed to stay buckled. Nicole called after her sharply, but she ran over to me and grabbed my hand. Her little face was streaked with tears, and she was trembling. "Grandma," she whispered, looking back at the car fearfully. "Don't get in. Please don't get in the car. I saw what Daddy did." Everything stopped. I knelt down to her level, my heart hammering. "Emma, sweetheart, what did you see?" "He was under the car this morning, in the garage. He had tools, and Mommy told me not to tell you. She said if I told you, something bad would happen. But I don't want something bad to happen to you, Grandma. Please don't go." Nicole was out of the car now, walking toward us with a tight smile. "Emma, honey, Daddy was just checking the fluids. That's what grown-ups do before road trips. Come back to the car, sweetie." But I held Emma's hand firmly. "What kind of tools, Emma? Do you remember?" "The silver ones, the ones that twist things." "Wrenches, David had been under the car with wrenches. I looked at the SUV sitting in my driveway, and my mind raced through possibilities. Brake lines, steering mechanisms, anything that could cause an accident on the winding mountain roads we'd be driving. I stood up slowly. David had gotten out of the car now too, and they were both watching me. I could see the calculation in their eyes. They knew Emma had said something. They were trying to figure out how much. "I'm not feeling well," I said clearly. "I think I need to skip this trip. Food poisoning, maybe?" I was up all night. "I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but I really can't travel today." "Mom, we've been planning this for weeks," David said, and there was an edge to his voice now. "You were fine yesterday. Come on, you'll feel better once we're on the road." "I really can't." I picked up Emma and held her tight. "Emma, sweetie, why don't you go inside with Grandma for a minute? I have some juice boxes in the fridge I've been saving for you." Nicole stepped forward. "Catherine, Emma needs to get back in the car. We have a long drive ahead of us." "Actually, I'd like Emma to stay with me this weekend," I said firmly. "Since I'm not going on the trip, she can keep me company. You two can have a romantic weekend alone." The mask slipped, just for a second, but I saw it. Nicole's face twisted with rage before she controlled it. "That's not the plan. We're going as a family." "Plans change," I said. I was already walking toward my front door with Emma in my arms. "David, you should probably have that car checked before you go anywhere. If you were working on it this morning, you want to make sure everything's secure." I saw him pale, saw him exchange a look with Nicole that confirmed every horrible suspicion. I got inside my house with Emma and locked the door behind us. Through the window, I watched them stand in my driveway for several minutes, arguing in harsh whispers. Then they got in their car and drove away. I called Marcus immediately, told him what happened and that David and Nicole had left. He told me to stay inside with Emma and that he was sending police to my location right away. He also dispatched a tow truck to follow David and Nicole's car and convince them it had a mechanical issue that needed to be checked immediately. Two things happened within the next hour. First, police arrived at my house to take a statement and ensure Emma and I were safe. Second, the tow truck caught up with David and Nicole about 15 miles away and told them their car was leaking brake fluid and needed immediate inspection. They had no choice but to agree. What the mechanic found was damning. The brake lines had been partially cut, not severed completely, but weakened to the point where they would have failed after extended use, particularly on steep, winding roads. The cuts were clean and deliberate. This wasn't wear and tear. This was sabotage. This was attempted vehicular homicide. David and Nicole were arrested that afternoon. The police had enough evidence with the tampered car, combined with Marcus's investigative report and Emma's testimony, to charge them with attempted harm and conspiracy. Emma had seen David under the car that morning and, in the innocent way children do, had told Nicole what she'd seen. Nicole had tried to silence her with threats, which Emma later recounted to Child Protective Services in heartbreaking detail. The search warrant on their home revealed even more. Nicole's computer with all those damning searches, printed guides on how to cause accidents, a journal where she'd outlined various scenarios and their pros and cons, bank statements showing their desperate financial situation, and, most chillingly, drafts of obituaries she'd written for me. Multiple versions, each tailored to different cause of passing. She'd been preparing for months. The trial took place 9 months later. I had to testify. I had to sit in that courtroom and describe how my son and his wife had planned to end my life for money. The defense tried to paint it all as a terrible misunderstanding. They claimed David was just doing car maintenance, that Nicole's searches were research for a true crime podcast she wanted to start, that the journal was fiction writing. But the prosecution systematically dismantled every excuse. Emma's testimony was the most powerful, delivered via video recording to protect her from trauma. She described what she'd seen with the clarity only a child possesses, untainted by adult rationalization. She talked about how scared Mommy had seemed, how Daddy had washed his hands 3 times after working on the car, how they'd made her promise not to tell Grandma anything. The forensic evidence was irrefutable. The brake lines showed deliberate tampering. The timing of the cuts matched David's access to the car that morning. Nicole's internet history showed she'd researched those specific roads we'd be traveling, had identified the most dangerous curves where an accident would be most likely. The jury found them both guilty. David received 15 years for conspiracy and attempted harm. Nicole received 22 years because she was identified as the primary architect of the plot. They were also permanently stripped of any rights to my estate and any inheritance they might have received. Emma, my beautiful granddaughter, was placed with Nicole's sister, who I've been working with to maintain a relationship with my granddaughter while respecting the boundaries of her new family situation. The aftermath has been complicated. Emma is in therapy, processing the trauma of learning her parents tried to hurt her grandmother. I'm in therapy too, working through the betrayal and grief. Because I am grieving. I'm grieving the son I thought I had, the family I thought we were. I'm grieving the innocence of Sunday dinners and holiday celebrations that I'll never get back. But I'm also alive. Emma saved my life by being brave enough to tell me what she saw, even though she'd been threatened not to. That 7-year-old child had more courage and moral clarity than her parents ever did, and I've made it my mission to ensure she grows up knowing that she's a hero, that she did the right thing, that what her parents did was wrong, and none of it was her fault. I've also become an advocate for elder abuse awareness, particularly around inheritance-motivated crimes. I speak at community centers and law enforcement training sessions. I share my story because I want people to understand that this kind of thing doesn't just happen in movies. It happens in real families, in nice neighborhoods, to people who think they know their loved ones. Here's what I've learned, and what I want you to take away from my story. First, trust your instincts. When my son started asking those questions about my estate, when Nicole started pushing for access to my accounts, something felt wrong. I ignored it at first because they were family. Don't make that mistake. Listen to your gut. Second, protect yourself legally and financially. Update your estate planning with an attorney you trust. Create structures that make it difficult for anyone to benefit from harming you. I'm alive today partly because Harrison helped me restructure everything in those final days before the trip. Third, document everything. Marcus's investigation, the cameras in my home, the GPS tracker in my car, all of that provided the evidence needed to convict. Without it, this might have been written off as a tragic accident, and David and Nicole might have collected millions while mourning their beloved mother. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, don't let wealth or fear of family conflict prevent you from taking action. I'm a wealthy woman, yes, but that wealth meant nothing if I wasn't alive to enjoy it. And the fear of causing family drama almost kept me from investigating my suspicions. Family harmony means nothing if it's built on people plotting to harm you. I still live in my beautiful home in Savannah. I still take my morning walks and yoga classes. I still manage my investments and travel when I want to. But I do it all with a security system, with trusted advisors who check in regularly, and with a much clearer understanding of what people are capable of when money is involved. Emma and I have visits several times a month. We do art projects, we bake cookies, we talk about her feelings when she's ready. I'm paying for her therapy and her education, and I've set up a trust that will give her financial security when she's older, structured in a way that protects her from predators like her parents. As for David and Nicole, they write me letters from prison sometimes. David's letters are full of apologies and justifications. He claims he never would have gone through with it, that he was weak and let Nicole manipulate him, that he still loves me. I don't respond. I can't. The man who wrote those letters is a stranger wearing my son's name. Nicole's letters are different, angry, accusatory, blaming me for everything, for being too wealthy, for not sharing enough, for forcing them into this situation. Her complete lack of remorse tells me everything I need to know about who she really is. Some people have asked me if I'll ever forgive them. The honest answer is, I don't know. Forgiveness is complicated when someone tries to end your life. Right now, what I feel most is sadness. Sadness for the family we could have been. Sadness for Emma, who lost both parents to their own greed. Sadness for myself, for the years I wasted believing in people who saw me as nothing more than a bank account with a heartbeat. But I'm also grateful. Grateful for Emma's courage. Grateful for Harrison and Marcus's help. Grateful that I trusted my instincts and took action. Grateful that I'm still here to tell this story and maybe prevent it from happening to someone else. So if you're watching this and something feels wrong in your family dynamics, investigate. If people are suddenly very interested in your finances, protect yourself. If you hear conversations that chill you to the bone, document them. And if a 7-year-old child pulls your hand and tells you not to get in the car, listen. That moment in my driveway, Emma's tears, her trembling hand in mine, her whispered warning, that moment changed everything. It gave me the information I needed to save my own life. Children see the world with a clarity adults often lose. They haven't learned yet how to rationalize evil or excuse bad behavior in the name of family loyalty. Emma saw her father tampering with a car. She knew it was wrong. And even though she'd been threatened, even though she was scared, she told me anyway. That's the person I want her to grow up to be. Someone who speaks truth even when it's hard. Someone who protects the people she loves. Someone who won't be silenced by threats or manipulated by greed. And that's the legacy I want to leave. Not just money in a trust fund, but the lesson that courage matters. That truth matters. That protecting yourself and others from harm is more important than keeping family secrets. That wealth is meaningless if you're not alive to use it for good. My granddaughter's words shattered me that day. But they also saved me. And now I'm using my remaining years to make sure other people hear the warning signs before it's too late. Because family should be about love and support, not calculation and greed. And when it becomes the latter, you have every right and responsibility to protect yourself, no matter who the threat comes from.